Alright, so this is my video on the TED Talks, the magic washing machine, and our country's greatest injustice. Um, First, the magic washing machine. I kind of liked that one. It was really fun. He he started off with the story of the first time his family got a washing machine and how long his parents had saved up for it. And he said it was like a family event and it was a celebration and everybody came over. His grandma was there and they watched his mom load the laundry into the washing machine and she was about to close the door and the grandma's like, oh, let me push the button. And so she pushed the button and started the load going and sat there and watched the whole cycle. And I remember doing that as a little kid. Like, I think it's really funny how excited a grandma, like an older person, was about a washing machine. But he pointed out that just 2 generations earlier, like in that family, uh, his grandma was washing clothes by hand. Like, he showed a picture of her and another lady washing clothes by hand. He said that most of the women in the world wash by hand. And he was talking about, like, he tells this to his students and how they're like, oh no, these ladies in the other countries who wash by hand, we shouldn't give them a washing machine. It's bad for the environment. We shouldn't give them cars because it's bad for the environment. And he's like, okay, so how many of you don't use cars? And a few of them raised their hand and were like, yeah, we don't use cars. And he said, okay, how many of you don't use this magic washing machine? And no one raised their hand. And he said, you can't expect us to not give other people this machine if you are still dependent on it because it's bad for the environment, but you're still using it, kind of thing. And I really liked how he pointed out that now that his family had a washing machine, his mom, like, they could go to the library and his mom could read him stories. And I feel like that's the base of an education, is when you read books when you're young, or when you start reading books and getting an interest in reading. And it allowed her to have more time for reading. He went to talk about how much time and energy women spend a week just washing clothes, and how, to me, it would be really disappointing because it's not a very big reward at the end. You just have clean clothes, and they're going to be worn and then they're going to get dirty again. So to me, that would be really frustrating, and I'd like to be able to spend my time doing more productive things like reading books, because I love reading books. He said that there's a way that, he said, half of the energy is used by 1/7 of the population. And he said, we'd like to get more people up using more of the energy, but we can make it so they're using less at the same time by becoming smarter about it, by using more green energy. And like with everything, I think that we can get everybody up and equal and still use less if we're smart about it and if we know what we're doing. And then our country's greatest injustice, to me, I basically got out of that one that it was gender inequality. How much women can really affect the economy and the growth. And I thought it was really cool because she told about a story of a girl who, after she had her second daughter, her mother-in-law told her son, or this girl's husband, that he needed to find a second wife because she wasn't going to provide a son for him. And he said, something that she got money donated to her, and she started her own business and got the man involved, like her husband, involved with it. And so she started distributing, and he became part of the distributing. And she just stressed a lot about how women can become part of the solution and not part of the problem, and how a lot in today's in the past and in today's society, they think that we are the problem, and that we that we just get in the way, and that there's nothing we can do. We're just good for childbearing and keeping the house up. But something that really got to me too was she showed a picture of a girl in an orphanage who, I don't remember what country it was in, but this girl, she was skin and bone, like you could see her ribs, and she was so skinny. She said all the other girls in this orphanage are like that. But if you look at her brothers, this girl's brothers, in the same family, they're just fine. And she said that she asked if there were more, who thought there were more males and who thought there were more females. And she said that, I can't remember, I think she said that there were more males. Because there are 60 to 100 million missing females, and they're just gone. They die through childbirth, they die through all sorts of complications, and nobody really cares. There's a girl who gave birth in bushes, and there was some complication, and the baby died, and it left her so she didn't really have any nerves in her legs. She couldn't feel her legs, and she couldn't control her bowel movements, and so she stunk. And the community put her on the outskirts of the community and shunned her and kept the door open so the hyenas would get her. And they just, I don't know, I feel like they'd be more willing to find and fix what the problem was if it was a male in that kind of situation who was hurt and stuff like that, because they see him as more valuable to society. But I really liked how she said, make us part of the solution, not the problem, because she brought up something that, I'm spacing. Some smart guy, I really don't remember his name, I don't think I wrote it down, but he said, how can you expect to be one of the top 10 countries if you're only using half of your resources, meaning if you're not using your women too? And we have a lot to offer to the plate, and we'll be able to educate our children more, so we'll create this more educated society if we become educated and if we are valued more. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay.